Dear sisters and brothers, this is the broadcast for March 11th, 2022. It is the day of the yellow planetary human, according to the law of time, and we are in the solar moon. And as I have said in my previous broadcast on March 3rd, it is the time to be more effective and to shine through the darkness. There's a need for light, and it's getting more important each day. Today is the 11th anniversary of the earthquake in Japan that was at 9 Richter scale. So it was very big, as you might remember. And it was the day, March 11th, 2011. It was known to be the day when the fifth dimension energies met the planet Earth as we are sailing through the waves, passing through the photon belt. This is not a familiar knowledge to most of you. I can imagine it's difficult to digest. So the fifth dimension energies hit the planet Earth. They were supposed to meet the Earth, and something like that happened. And I'm going to talk about did we have to experience something like that. I will come to that point in a couple of minutes. The fifth dimension energies were downloaded to the Earth before through the Alpha channel in Istanbul, through some work done in Istanbul, and these energies opening up to the Earth is, of course, something else because it's a greater scale. The seed was planted in Turkey, but the large scale integrating the planet Earth with those energies from the fifth dimension is really something else. And as you might know, Japan is a missionary country, just like Turkey. It is connected to the union of central suns. Therefore, Japan undertook this very difficult mission for the Earth. Some beings were directly transferred to the spaceships, actually, located in the Japanese skies that day. And it's about 10,000 people is counted as missing. Coming back to the point, could it have been easier to meet the fifth dimension energies? And please keep in mind that our journey does not end with the fifth dimension energies. We have to go further, and yes, it could have been easier. It could have been easier with advanced consciousness and strong magnetic fields, built with higher coordinates of consciousness, higher coordinates of collective human consciousness, but we are unfortunately not there yet. We still have a war going on, right? And we have a difficult period until March 21st, 2022. This is until the day of the white resonant wind. We have to make this white resonant wind a good wind. So yes, our friends, our galactic friends are there to make a blockage to a nuclear attack and anything that comes to mind with something, the word associated with nuke. And they are there to help, but we have to be building that consciousness and creating that magnetic field associated with the consciousness. Could it be easier? Yes, the answer is yes. And it is depending on choice we all should be making, and which is about the scope of today, the yellow planetary human, where we should be making choices for the planet as well as ourselves. It is a choice between the material and spiritual directions, because a strong magnetic field cannot be obtained on material choices. If humanity insists on sticking to the material aspects, and holding on to the materie they possess, possessions and the material things, then events like war or drought takes place to separate humans from those material aspects and direct them into spiritual aspects. It's very important, therefore, to make those choices without having to experience difficult events. We don't need those events. We don't need war, or we don't need scarcity of food or water. In order to enhance the strong magnetic fields, it is important that codes of consciousnesses are transferred and linked. And more importantly, a great energy is required to be downloaded from higher realms into the planet Earth. When a great downloading of energy and codes of higher evolution is to be effectuated, there's a greater need for a larger number of people with the necessary spiritual power and endurance who are really capable of carrying the necessary energy loadings and, of course, the associated advanced codes of consciousness that are necessary for more advanced programs to be downloaded and implemented. Only then it would be easy for humans. It would be not necessary for the human beings and the earth to go through heavy and difficult evolution programs. It is not difficult to stop the wars and the struggles of heavy life and to have a better life altogether. The words altogether are crucial here because if someone gets discriminated and left outside, these higher consciousness programs cannot be implemented. And that's why we have to make a choice. As we as humanity were never outside, we were never left alone. We have discussed this in my previous broadcasts, and to enable the functioning of the magnetic fields that would constitute the basis for a strong, peaceful future with advanced programs, there are some technologies used by our galactic ancestors. And yes, they have very advanced technologies, as you might foresee. One of these technologies are the ley lines on planet Earth. Ley comes from an Old English phrase. It means a cleared space. Ley means cleared space. In 1920s, they were called as Heilige Linien in German. And also there are a lot of British and French researchers who investigated and left written sources into the human literature. Yes, there might be others who have investigated, but to leave something written or spoken as a source into the human literature is very important. According to some of these sources in the written literature, these ley lines were placed by our ancient ancestors to monitor the magnetic fields on Earth. Even the Earth can be transferred from one place to another in space by holding on these ley lines just like a magnet. And the pyramids and some ancient structures are being built on those ley lines. These create a magnetic current that flows across the Earth, according to Tony Ved, and he has written in his book Skyways and Landmarks. And the ley lines are depicted as lines of power. Nice, isn't it? Lines of power. In a way, paths of spiritual force that is required both for us as humans, for the planet Earth itself, because she's a living being too, and for our ancestors to plug us where they want to move us. He also mentioned that spaceships are following these lines as they fly around the Earth. There were many other books written in the 1960s For example, the Earth Mysteries movement took place in 1960s. It was following the Sessions program, which was implemented in Turkey since the 1950s to download the higher energies from higher dimensions onto the Earth. If you could find perhaps the book called the Book of Loyals in English, you can have a deeper insight with the transcribed recordings of these spiritual sessions. It is called Sadıklar Planı in Turkish. So you may perhaps find, it's a very old book and not many copies are around as far as I know. The Chinese culture, for instance, has a concept of, it's called Lung Mei, which is, it means energy lines simply. And another researcher, John Michel, has written a book in 1967 called The View Over Atlantis, who elaborated further on the Chinese Lung Mei concept and proposed the idea that an ancient advanced society built those energy lines surrounding the Earth to create a strong magnetic field for existence, for life, just like creating an atmosphere of air to breathe. Imagine you start from scratch on a new planet, and it's easy if you could imagine. So it is the work of an ancient civilization, our ancestors. And esoteric, perhaps a universal knowledge we might call, knowledge set, mentions another concept of lines, actual rings, surrounding the Earth, and it is called more as circles or rings, we can maybe pinpoint. There are 16 rings surrounding the Earth, and it starts with the ring number 1 in Istanbul, in Turkey, since the Alpha channel is in Istanbul right now. Rings numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are in Turkey, Anatolia, and the 7th ring is in Antalya. Anatolia means the East in Greek language. The Turkish name, however, is Anadolu. Ana means in Turkish mother. It also means main. And dolu means full. We may translate it as full of mothers, but I wouldn't do that. But I'd interpret it as the main programs are downloaded on this land first. Thereby Turkey is a missionary country, as we say. The programs from higher dimensions are downloaded, seeded on this land first, and then they go to other magnetic fields in the Earth. The 7th ring is in Antalya, and it transmits all the broadcasts to the 8th ring in Egypt. Ring 9 is India, ring 10 is Australia, 11 is Spain, 12 is Italy, 13 is Britain, 14 is Peru and Mexico in South America, and 15 is USA, 16 is Canada. The reason why Turkey has 7 broadcast rings is that the alpha magnetic field is on Anatolia in Turkey, and the alpha channel is in Istanbul during this transition period. For those of you who are asking what is alpha channel, you may think of it as the channel transmitting the energies and knowledge from higher dimensions to the Earth. Throughout time, alpha channel will move towards the northwest, and once upon a time it was on top of the Middle East, as the sacred knowledge that we know as religions flourished there. And I'd recommend you to explore the Sumerian tablets to elaborate more on this issue. It's very interesting. I have the premonition that there is another very important broadcasting ring in the area of Ephesus. the House of the Virgin Mary, and the ruins close to the district of Ödemiş. It's on top of this ring. There is a mothership of the Hathor galactic race, and they are on duty, and they kept communicating since 50 years, and some channels here already have some contacts. I call this ring, this is very important, the ring or circle as Ephes, and Ephes means zero in Hebrew. So it's the number zero, okay, the ring. These topics may be quite new to some of you, but they are not new, and they just were not investigated and researched much. And even if they were researched, they were kept more private. The alpha energy is starting from Istanbul, and besides the alpha energy, we have the omega energies, and we have also much further energies as well. And in order to download omega energies, this alpha magnetic field is being utilized as a pooling and installation platform, and the omega program was opened in Turkey and spread to some countries now. It is always the energy first, and then the seeds of the program, and then the those who are going to carry out those programs. So it's a combination of many factors. The Omega program actually belonged to the zone where the 14th, 15th, 16th broadcasting rings are present. Mainly 15th broadcasting is the United States of America. Given the fact that all main programs are seeded and opened in Anatolia, Turkey, it's also a fact that these programs are transferred to other magnetic fields. Sometimes they are countries, sometimes beings, sometimes they are organizations, or who or which are supposed to carry out them. It is also a fact that some countries are not covered directly by the broadcasting rings, but indirectly, of course, they get reflections from those rings. These programs are flourished by their missionaries, implementers, who carry the codes of those programs. These programs are transmitted through frequencies of a musical note system. Let me explain how it runs. The broadcasting rings operate on 7 notes, each note having 7 frequencies, and each frequency has 7 tones, or we can call them variants, 7 tones or variants, which means each broadcasting ring carries 343 codes of transmission. When you make a calculation, Turkey carries 2,401 codes, 2,401 codes, and the world in total 5,488 codes. Remember our previous broadcasts where we talked about the codes of growth? You see, for instance, there are some numeric meanings too. 54 is 3 times 18, and you know the 18 programs, they have been opened up in Turkey as well, and it's the 18 minute of our broadcast. It's not a coincidence, of course. And 88 stands for the Omega code. Actually, I'm planning on a broadcast on numbers, because I have plenty of numeric codes, which really means a lot if you start associating them meanings, which is again a system or already in the collective consciousness of the humanity. It's not something new. It's just decoding of some already existing information, either on this planet or on the higher dimension. This knowledge exists. We are just decoding them. Of course, there are areas beyond the Atalanta dimension where there is no existing knowledge. There we have to create the knowledge. it's another task. So let's stick to the task we have at the moment, okay? Yes, the cause of growth from our previous broadcast. Let me remind you, what are your codes of growth, we asked, and whether you can comment those codes, we asked. Can you write a program of your own existence based on those codes, we ask, and what is your mission? This is another question. Can you open up towards your mission program? This is also another question. And how do you know whether your life is progressing in accordance with your mission program? This is an entirely question that you should be answering. I'm just asking questions, and I can ask more questions if you like. It is a really tremendous work to really combine the knowledge sets and to really know what has been already in the existing knowledge set and reveal it, in a way upgrade it, because once you install the programs, once you have seeds of programs, you can upgrade them. And you can upgrade the people, you can upgrade their brains and their codes of growth. So all these technologies of the galactic ancestors of us is helping us to build on those codes of growth, codes of consciousness. And of course, stronger brains are needed to activate and utilize those codes. And I want to conclude with a statement of, as Atatürk says, the founder of the Turkish Republic, and of course much more. There's a very, very strong statement, which is peace at home, peace at the universe. And you may of course think, as one of my beloved friends, Ellie, says, it's peace at home means peace from within, and peace at the universe is simply peace around you. And you can make it peace at home. Home can be your country, and peace at the universe. Peace can be the earth, the world. You can extend the meaning as you like. And of course, it's not a coincidence that the peace table recently was summoned in Antalya on March 10th, 2022. It was yesterday. Antalya, Anatolia, 7 broadcasts, and each broadcast carrying 343 codes. And what are we going to do with all of these? So I want to say we are all trusted beings as the seeds of peace on earth. So stay well.